Acharya ji, the elections in Bengal have just concluded. Marx used to say that a person's thinking is determined by their class, without exception. If they are a worker, they will think like a worker. If they are bourgeois or ruling class, their thinking will be like the ruling class.
Bourgeois means, roughly understand it, as a rich person. And the second class is what you call the proletariat. These are the people who work by going to his factory. There will be class struggle between these two classes. The result will be that capitalism will be destroyed. And there will be revolution in the world. Classless society. There will be the establishment of a classless society. Who is Marx himself? Marx himself is a bourgeois. If someone asks where Marxism failed, do not give examples of Russia or China. Where did Marxism fail? The whole theory of Marx becomes completely irrelevant in front of Raja Ram Mohan Roy. And if you take this among Brahmins, it applies to Tilak. It applies to Gokhale. It applies to Agarkar. It applies to Ranade. Many great social reformers challenged the Brahminical dominance. If Swami Vivekananda is educated, would he be bourgeois or proletariat? They themselves are living proof that Marxist theory is flawed. And this is why, when the election results come in Bengal, who will lose, who will win, only God knows. But this is...
So there can never really be a perfect theory then.
Perfect theory would say that.
Hello sir, the elections in Bengal have just concluded. I was reading your article that you wrote in The Pioneer after your trip to Kolkata. It was an advocatic critique of Marxism. After reading it, I started studying a bit about Marxism and Karl Marx. So I found it a bit interesting that Marx used to say that a person's thinking is determined by their class without exception. If they are a worker, their thinking will be like that of a worker. And if they are bourgeois or ruling class, their thinking will be like that of the ruling class. So I was thinking, according to this framework, what was Marx himself? Was he bourgeois, proletariat? He wrote the entire theory. So I wanted to understand a bit from you according to the AP framework. How does one understand that?
First of all, the one who has a lot of Marxism, they present a simple framework to everyone. You just talked about class. So broadly speaking, there are two classes. So, roughly speaking, there are two classes. There is one who has goods. What kind of goods? Those that can produce more goods, like money, like a factory, like forest resources. So this will be the one which is the honors class, the class that owns factors of production, meaning resources from which production can occur, from which goods, means, things, goods can be produced. They own them. What is that class called? A person from that class is called bourgeois. That entire class will be called bourgeoisie. Bourgeoisie. And anyone from that class, we will say this is bourgeois, this is bourgeois, this is bourgeois. Okay? So bourgeois roughly means a rich person. A rich man who has a factory, car, money, etc. He becomes a bourgeois. Okay? And the other class, this class struggle, is at the very heart of Marxism. The entire theory is built around it. What is the other class called? Proletariat. These are the people who go and work in their factory. These are the people who go and sell their labor to him. So how does that upper class, the bourgeois, the bourgeoisie operate? Where does their money come from? By exploiting these people. Yes, from profit. All right, if they have a factory, where does the profit from the factory go? It goes to them, it goes to the bourgeoisie. And those who are below the proletariat, how do they manage their work? They go there to work, they get paid, they receive wages. So these are the two classes. And Marx's entire theory is that the whole story of history is written by the class struggle between these two. The entire story of history is written from the class struggle of these two. So Marx said this in the 19th century. And then Lenin and others advanced this idea in the 20th century, meaning the last century. So when Marx saw a lot of capitalistic exploitation in Europe, in England, he developed his theory with Engels. And it was said that the class struggle between these two classes will result in the destruction of capitalism, leading to a revolution in the world. And from that revolution, an egalitarian state, a communist state, will be established. Although Marxism and communism are two different things, the indication was almost towards this classless society. The establishment of a classless society will occur, right? So this is what Marx said. So in summary, what did Marx say? Now let's understand it in very simple language. Because your question is, who is Marx himself? Marx has said that the class you are born into, that's it. If you are born into a bourgeois family, then you have no such thing as a choice. Now you will have to behave according to your class. Your thoughts will also be according to your class. Your clothing and your entire focus, your entire labor, your entire effort will be that whatever you do should benefit your class. And your proletariat class, which you would call the class of the miserable, the destitute, the proletarians. There will always be a kind of class hostility between you and them. They will remain your enemy. You cannot think of their welfare because you do not belong to that class. You are not of that class. Suppose it is the class of workers. Broadly speaking, we would say there is a class of wealthy people, a class of rich people, a class of educated people. There is a class of those who have some privilege. And there is a class that is weak, proletariat, downtrodden, poor, laborers, farmers, and less educated. This is their class. Alright? These are two classes. One is the class of laborers and the other is the class of the wealthy. And they are saying that whoever is born in the class of the wealthy, he will think like a businessman and will hold hostility towards the workers. It means that consciousness is class determined. The class you are born into determines what your consciousness will be like. This is what Marx said. Now here your question becomes quite evident. Who is Marx himself? Marx himself is bourgeois. Because he was not born in a worker's home, he was born in a lawyer's home, there was money. He was married into an aristocratic family. It was a Prussian aristocratic family. He was married into a royal family. He was well educated, unlike workers who might be uneducated. And just as a worker sells their labor, Marx never sold his labor. Who did Marx receive money from for his living? From Engels. And Engels himself had a factory in Manchester. So in every sense, Marx himself is bourgeois. But what Marx talked about was for the welfare of the proletariat. So Marx himself is an example that there is something wrong with Marxism. And it's a significant flaw. If someone asks where Marxism failed, give an example. Don't give the example of Russia or China. Where did Marxism fail? It failed in Marx. The biggest example of Marxism failing is Marx himself. Because according to Marx, Marx himself, there should have been an exploiter. Marx should have been a wealthy man, sucking the blood of the poor because he himself came from a bourgeois background. But Marx did not do anything like that. The thing is like this. So that fundamental assertion of Marxism that consciousness is class determined, it completely collapses right there. Now either you accept this, that Marx was just an exception in this. If only Marx was an exception, are we considering Marx as some kind of god or something? If Marx is an exception, then there could be other exceptions too. And if there could be other exceptions, then there could be 100 exceptions. If there could be 100 exceptions, then the theory is destroyed. The theory is destroyed. One possibility is that you directly accept that what you have said, that a person's consciousness, thoughts and inclinations all come from their class, is incorrect. Yes, class is important. It has a significant impact on the individual, but that is not the only thing with which you can write a person's entire horoscope. You have made it completely deterministic, made it fatalistic like a horoscope. You said that someone born as a laborer will have a laborer's consciousness, and someone born in a rich household will have a rich person's consciousness. This is like fatalism, isn't it? This is fatalism. Another thing could be that if we consider Marxism's theory to be correct, so Marx is bourgeois, then what Marx should do is act for the interests of the bourgeois class. Because whatever anyone does from the bourgeois, it will be for the interests of the bourgeois class. So the theory Marx has given is to protect the interests of the bourgeois class. This all got messed up. Everything got messed up. But there is some evidence in favor of this as well. Because who has most widely adopted Marxist theory? The bourgeoisie has adopted it. The proletariat has not adopted it. The biggest proponents of Marxism can be found in universities, among writers and among artists. You will find a few among farmers and workers. Farmers and workers are the proletariat. You will not find much support for Marxism there. There you will not really find much support for Marxism at all. Instead, you will clearly see that people are mostly guided by religion. And they are also driven in the name of patriotism. And beyond this, they have many other concerns as well. Many other centers of focus and many different kinds of motivators influencing them. The bourgeois class has made it their own rigid philosophy. So this proves that even Marx's theory is a bourgeois theory for the bourgeois. So this proves that even Marx's theory is a bourgeois theory only for the bourgeoisie. Now, if all three of these things are present, then it becomes a big mess. But if you take any one of these three things, whether the theory is wrong, or Marx is an exception, or Marx himself is bourgeois, any one of these three things leads to the conclusion that, sir, do not create a fatalistic or deterministic theory. Because there are big issues in determinism. When you say that the bourgeois consciousness can only think in a bourgeois way, so then Marx himself gets caught up in it because Marx is bourgeois. The Freudian theory says that all thoughts are the rational manifestation of your subconscious desires. And what was said, this is also a thought. From which subconscious desire did it come? If Freud said that your thoughts are the hidden desires in the basement of your mind, and those basement desires manifest as thoughts, then this statement is also a thought. Which desire's manifestation is this? Please tell us that too then. So you got stuck here too. All these kinds of theories, they trap you. Honestly, you should say that we are influenced by our environment. But it is not necessary that we behave according to that environment. Absolutely not necessary. Actually, when Lenin saw this, that all these workers are not actually making a revolution. This was called false consciousness. It was said that they should be revolting, but they are not. Because their minds are intoxicated with other things. That was not Marx's religion is the opium of the masses. So they are not even doing the revolution. So a new concept was given. These are called epicycles. These are patches added to Marxist theory. These patches somehow, yes, adjust the theory to preserve it, because the empirical evidence is going against the theory. It appears that the working class, instead of making a revolution, is praising the wealthy. They are considering the wealthy as their ideals. So it doesn't seem like a revolution is happening anywhere. The revolutions that did occur, they didn't happen in the highly industrialized countries. They happened in the less industrialized countries. There was no revolution in America. All right. So then a concept was given, the vanguard intellectual. Who? The vanguard intellectual. It was said, look, sir, these workers and so on, they don't have much intelligence. Someone will emerge from the bourgeois themselves, who, disregarding their class interests, their class selfishness, their class interests, leaving his own class, he will go to these workers, to this proletariat, and then by removing their false consciousness, he will awaken them and prepare them for revolution. Now, an even more astonishing thing has happened. Now see what you are saying. You are saying that there are two classes, and even the revolution can only be done by the bourgeois class, meaning the proletariat has to do the revolution. But who will make it happen? Some separate vanguard intellectual will emerge from the bourgeois class itself, and then it will go and incite revolution among the workers. And who will this vanguard intellectual be? Someone who is educated but idealistic. Someone who is educated, idealistic, but without selfishness. Only rebellion and fire. This person will go and tell the workers and farmers to rise and revolt. And we see many examples of this. If you look at the communist parties in India, much of their leadership has come from the largest bourgeois class in Indian society, the Brahmins. Do you understand? Marx himself became an example of a vanguard intellectual. Lenin became an example. All the big names in the entire communist history became examples of vanguard intellectuals. So what is happening?
In a way, if they improve the jury, that it somehow doesn't justify.
Won't be justified. As soon as you included something in the theory itself collapsed. In the same way, the theory itself collapsed. Because the theory says that there are two classes and there will always be continuous struggle between them. And this dialectical friction is what leads to something new, which is how historical time keeps progressing. The theory says this, but when you said that there are two classes where someone from the opposing, adversarial, enemy class will emerge to lead the workers, then you have torn the theory apart, haven't you? It is much better to say that Sir Marx was absolutely right. The environment in which a person is born, raised, educated, and receives values and culture affects them. But it is not the final word. That's why I often tell you that the final thing is determined. Any theory that becomes absolute will get stuck. Any theory that says X always leads to Y, then he will also have to explain where this theory came from. Where did that theory come from? What class does the theory that Google is providing belong to? Because there is someone giving the theory, right? What class does that person belong to? Then all those deterministic theories will definitely fail. That's why the framework given to you, the AP framework, is not deterministic. It stops at your intention. It tells you nothing is certain. You will decide what will happen. Marx's theory compels you in a way. It says if you are bourgeois, you will remain bourgeois. And if you are proletariat, you will remain proletariat. This compulsion is a problematic thing. There is no place for human consciousness in it. And that's why Marxism had to fail.
If we look at other examples, there is the example of Rajaram Mohan Roy, who was also born into a Brahmin family.
This is not the only example. You talk about the Brahmins. But I was talking about the Indian communist parties. It should be that if someone is born into a Brahmin family, they should do all the work that advances the dominance of the Brahmin class. What is Raja Ram Mohan Roy doing? He is a Bengali Brahmin, an elite Brahmin, standing against sati, standing against child marriage, standing against the caste system, even standing against idol worship. What is this? They have completely dismantled the entire structure of their class. What would Marx say about this? Marx's entire theory completely falls apart in front of Rajaram Mohan Roy. Despite being a Brahmin, Rajaram Mohan Roy is working for other classes, leaving his own class. And this applies to Tilak, among Brahmins, to Gokhale, to Agarkar, and to Ranade as well. Many great social reformers have challenged Brahminical dominance and superstitions. They were all Brahmins. Swami Vivekananda. The dominance of Brahminism has been challenged, and the superstitions have been challenged, and they were all Brahmins. You can talk about Vivekananda among the Brahmins. Swami Dayanand Saraswati, who raised a clarion call against the entire ritualism. And the traditional Brahmins did not like this at all. So what would Marx say about this? According to Marx, a person will behave according to their class. But here, the class is being broken, being stepped out of. Because a human is conscious, and the ego has the power of choice. It's about intention, what you choose. It's about intention. Swami Vivekananda is educated. So will they be bourgeois or proletariat? They must be bourgeois. Swami Vivekananda is not coming from the Dalit community. He is not coming from the untouchable category. He is a kayastha, educated, and also looks handsome. It's good. Then why is he speaking against the caste system? And why is he speaking against all the privileges of the upper caste people? Why is he speaking against them? They also violated the Marxist theory. They themselves are living proof that the Marxist theory is flawed. And this is the reason that when the election results come in Bengal, who will lose, who will win, only God knows. But it is certain that the Marxists will not get anything. Because there is something wrong with your theory. And you are not even showing the honesty to acknowledge that flaw. Instead, you are patching it up. You are putting patches on it. You are preparing epicyclic justifications, one after another. There's no benefit in that. It's dishonesty.
These days, in the name of Marxism, something else is allowed, like the so-called Marxist countries, which are the Russian administration and China. Look at North Korea as an example.
Look, understand one thing. Any theory that does not look at the theorizer is bound to be hollow. Like rationalism. What does rationalism say? I will inquire into everything except myself. I will inquire into everything about what is happening. But I will not look at myself to see what my intention is. I will not look at that. Any theory that excludes the theorizer from its ambit turns the theorizer into a god. It makes the theorizer an exception, a glorious exception, and then things go wrong. Are you understanding the point?
Is this a logical error?
Is it just a logical option or not? No, it is psychological, not logical. You are refusing to understand the ego, the right and responsibility of choice inherent in human consciousness. You are denying it. We have the greatest right to choose. I can choose my consciousness. My consciousness will not be determined by my class. Yes, class influences me. I completely accept that. Class has a big impact on me. But still I have the power to choose. I can choose. So this is a psychological error to think that a person will be like a puppet, behaving according to where they were born. A human is not a puppet. All classes have acted against the interests of their own classes. Now, those whom you call the proletariat class, Where did people like Kabir Sahib, Raida Sahib come from? Were they from the bourgeois class? These were from the proletariat, lower classes. Lower classes, but the literature they created is taught in universities. So this became a bourgeois matter. Marx then here collapsed. That there is an uneducated cobbler there, a weaver there, a simple shopkeeper. All these were saint poets of the devotional stream. And the literature they created, later on, people are doing PhDs on it in universities. So this has become a complete turnaround again. So in a way, no theory can be perfect.
So there cannot really be a perfect theory in any way.
Perfect theory would say that it's all up to you. It's a matter of intention. A perfect theory will never say that if X then Y, it will not be deterministic. It will never be deterministic. It will never be deterministic. It will leave the power in your hands. Any theory that doesn't leave power in your hands, what did it do? It made the one giving the theory into a god, didn't it? It declared, sir, this is Anupam Chatterjee. He's a Brahmin. So now he will practice Brahmanism his entire life. And he will exploit all the other castes and Shudras. He made you a puppet, didn't he? He took away your power, didn't he? So then the one who gives the theory becomes the exploiter himself. The biggest bourgeois became the one giving the theory. Because if the bourgeois is the one who exploits, then the biggest exploitation was done by the one giving the theory. This theorist exploited both the bourgeois and the proletariat because he confined both to roles. What could be a greater exploitation than telling the bourgeois that you will remain limited, confined to the bourgeois role, and if you are proletariat, you will remain confined to the proletariat role? This means I have exploited both at the same time, right? So the one who gave this theory became the master exploiter. Any theory that imprisons a person in determinism is very dangerous. It should not be accepted. Our ultimate concern is our freedom. Whoever has given you determinism has taken away your freedom. He took away your right to grow and change. Now what revolution will you make? The revolution you make will be within your own limited scope. Then you cannot make a revolution at all. And the other class will be told that you will have to make a revolution. Because that is your class performance. That is your class responsibility. So even if that revolution happens, it is not a revolution. It has become a duty. Because, sir, who am I? I am from the working class. And according to Marx, it is my responsibility to make a revolution. So now I'm not really doing a revolution. I'm fulfilling a responsibility. That is not even a revolution. It is a deterministic revolution. Then that was not a revolution at all. So any theory that says if X then Y should be rejected because it is taking away human freedom. It is taking away human consciousness. It is taking away the right to choose. The correct theory will be the one that says, son, everything depends on you. Everything in the outside world is not in your hands. Marx was absolutely right. The outside world operates due to various reasons, and we do not know them. Every kind of influence from the outside world can affect you. They are not in your control. Marx was absolutely right. But Marx did not consider the inner world at all. Marx did not acknowledge the inner world. I'm telling you, the inner world is in your hands. There you will choose. From the outside, you may have been born a Brahmin, a laborer, or something else. Born into wealth. That was not in your hands. Born black or white, born male or female. It was not in your hands. But what happens inside you, that is not deterministic. Marx will not determine that. No theory will determine that. Astrology will not determine that. Caste will not determine that. The horoscope will not determine that. Money will not determine that. You will decide that. You will decide that. It's all up to you. It's a game of your intentions. I often tell you this. You find the same thing in the framework. This is what they say in the framework. Yes.
In theories, I also see that when such errors or any fallacy occurs, people do not want to dismantle the theory immediately. In fact, even after so much has happened, Marxism continues in some way despite internal and external examples of failure. So, why is this?
Because you have attached your self-interest to that theory. Now, the patches you are putting on that theory, the patches you are adding, the epicyclic defenses you are giving it, are making that theory more absurd. But still, you are determined to prove that the theory is correct, sir. The theory is correct, sir. This just shows that when the intention is corrupted by ego, even if the truth is right in front, it is not seen. When the eyes are filled with work, the truth is not visible. You can say when the eyes are filled with theory, the truth is not visible. Once someone's eyes are filled with theory, no matter how much empirical evidence you present, they will say this is not evidence, this is an aberration. This is not evidence, this is an exception. He won't agree. He'll say, well, this happens sometimes, So to explain these things, we can have separate branches of the theory. To explain these things, we can refer to the appendix now.
If someone says that in a way the AP framework leaves all the burden on intention, it does not consider external conditions at all.
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely they do. They absolutely do. If there were no external conditions, where would you and I come from? This shirt of yours is also made from external conditions. Your nose is also made from external conditions. These flesh eyes of mine are also made from external conditions. This body itself is made from external conditions. Not only that, the ego, which sits at the center of the AP framework, that ego is also created by the body. Its birth is biological, right? So its birth is also from external conditions. The ego does not originate from itself. It comes from something external called the body. So external conditions certainly have an impact. It undoubtedly has an impact. But we are saying whether they will have the greatest impact or not, you know that. External conditions are significant, but more significant is your determination, your love. Love. It will outweigh any influence, any process. I am saying this, you decide. It won't affect, I am saying you decide. So within you, then what you wanted will happen. Yes, you cannot change the external things, or whether you can change them is uncertain.
Any kind of political ideology, you have spoken on other ideologies as well. So whatever is happening these days, the elections, this ideology fight.
Yes, for example, if it is said that you were born in a Muslim household, then you have to do this. Reject this theory, this ideology. If you were born in a Hindu household, you must do this. Reject it. What are all these taking away from you? Think about it. Like Marxism, what are all these beliefs, all these ideologies taking away from you? They are taking away your freedom. They are taking away your right to choose. They are telling you that you are Hindu, you are Sikh, you are Muslim. So now you have to live and behave in this way. Why do you have to? You are a woman, so now you have to follow these ideals. Why do you have to follow them? Reject any such beliefs that are in front of you. See that restrictions are being imposed on you in the name of beliefs. Just download the Acharya Prashant app, and there you go to the community section, and you have live testimonials streaming in at the rate of 1 every 5 minutes. I'm seeing lives change in thousands, if not millions, every day in front of my own eyes. We are doing it. Right. We have actually done it.
Join the community of more than 2 lakh participants on the Acharya Prashant app. Your first month is completely free. You'll get full access to Gita Mission. On the app, you will get regular live sessions, daily exclusive conversations with Acharya Prashant, access to the vibrant Gita community, wisdom exams, curated news, audiobooks, quotes, and much more. Search Acharya Prashant on Google Play Store or Apple App Store and download now.